Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a
Hi everybody. Oh my god, I just turned off the fan. I was like, why is my volume settings different than normal? And it's because I had a fan on, so I turned that off. It's immediately hot. Just like you, just like me. Hi! I hope everybody's doing well today. Let me put this to the side before I forget. If we hurry, we can fit in 2 cases. So please forgive my short intro. Tell me what you had for dinner. If you haven't had dinner yet, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. Even if you did have dinner but you didn't like what you had, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. I get so many ideas from you guys, you wouldn't believe it. If you didn't know, by the way, I am a personal chef to an asshole in his 40s. He's very discerning. And so I actually do cook every day custom meals. So I love to hear what you've had to eat. And if you knew, this channel had a previous iteration, KCC 1.0 we called it. That channel I actually cooked in the kitchen a lot of the time. I had a kitchen studio set up, but turns out it's sort of annoying to listen to me yell in the kitchen about court shit. So we don't anymore. I have a studio now. You know, sometimes we still, but I have to lug all my stuff into the kitchen. Anyways, I just said we have to get fucking going. We can't be, hi dog man. I just said we have to get going. We can't be talking a lot. And now I'm hearkening back to the KCC cooking era, Rose. You know, I've actually gotten better and better and better at cooking as I've aged. Oh, but I think part of that's because I've gotten higher and higher and higher. Anyways, I have myself an iced coffee from a can. This can, to be exact. You guys are so sweet. 15 months. Erica, it's not going to pop up on the screen, but I see it. I see it. 15 amazing months. We were supposed to do a recipe share. I actually have a really good idea for a cookbook. Oh, I said I wasn't going to tell a story, but when I was younger, I went to a very small Montessori school to start with, and think like, I don't know, under 100 kids, definitely under 100 families. And part of what they did was like a cookbook every year, and but it was like, it wasn't like fancy shit. You know, it was 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, so it was you know, not fancy shit, and I loved it. Anyways, that's the short part of that story, because we are going to actually get going, because if we don't, we really won't have time. I have some other things to do. I wanted to watch that one too. It's funny. I hoard court. My name is Paisley, and I hoard court. Judge, can you just chill out? We gotta skip through some of this. So this is it. We're gonna do the 2 cases. Oh. Burning a Skittles fatty? That's awesome. Oh my god. We really have to get going. I'm gonna have to shut up. That was just a text message confirming dinner, which I thought was tomorrow, but is tonight. Okay, I need to text back.
Continuously reached out to his place.
Whoa, we're in the middle of it. I thought we had just started. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. It's fine though. It's not even 3 o'clock my time. We're doing good. We're fine. We could be here for 3 hours and I could still throw dinner together. Because I'm a personal chef. If I hit the button, it'll just skip us ahead. Also, I heard that Biggin got a little bit of a strike.
Are you Mr.
Thoughts to
Hunsinger?
Biggin.
Yes.
I'm going to need you to be stationary.
Okay.
And then maybe put where that sun every now and again, you know, kind of hits me in the eye. So maybe move where the sun's not directly behind you.
Okay, Your Honor.
Thank you.
He just
So,
teleport.
Is that better, Your
Mr.
Honor?
I guess the Hunsingers or the petitioners,
Correct.
who wants to speak first?
I can.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Go ahead. How is it you need an order against Ms. Thompson?
I need an order on Miss Thompson because my husband decided to have a friends with benefits affair with her, and she has continuously reached out to his place of work, which is UPS, on May 5th, and she, without his consent, RCW 9A.86.010, disclosing intimate images to his employer with false name and expressing she thought he was possibly doing this friends with benefits on the job. And she has repeatedly contacted me via Facebook, which I was grateful for. And then she bashed my family on this web page on Facebook called Are We Dating the Same Guy? The first time, and I had asked her nicely to take it down, which she had done. And she wanted me to be friends with her. I don't want to be friends with a mistress. She wanted to meet up with me, meet my kid.
Oh, did you see my face? That offended me. You don't want to be friends with a mistress? Well, fuck off. You don't want to be friends with your husband's mistress. That's understandable. But don't lump all mistresses in like that. There are some ethical mistresses.
Kids, confront my husband in person, and I didn't want that. I was very cordial and very vague with her. She wanted me to call her inappropriate names. My heart is not foul, and I just think it takes two to tango, not just one. And she got upset that I deleted her off Facebook, so she then posted again on Facebook and bashed my family. And I think it was very inappropriate. I did tell her I was going to take legal action, and she had put a restraining order on my husband on May 21st with the Pierce County District's office, and it was denied because there was a anonymous statement, which was false because my husband and I were at home on the 16th. We just had lost his sister unexpectedly on May 10th. So we do have witnesses of being home that day. And I just am very upset. She continued to contact him by different phone numbers on this app.
I don't want to know what app it is. Unless she's going to say like text now or something. Here's what I'm going to say. What am I going to say about this? What am I going to say about this? How am I going to approach this? I would like to see what he wrote back. That's what I would like to see. And she did say anonymous. She seems very upset. I feel bad for her. Jacob, you need to pick a side, and if you decide that you don't want Cheyenne anymore, you got to be fucking clear about it and deal with that. But I worry that Jacob thinks he's unstoppable, like it says on his shirt, but maybe he's a little bit leading everybody on. Okay, Jacob? It's pretty easy not to fuck other people, right? I thought so. I don't know.
That my husband was using, and her fiance also reached out to my husband multiple times on Facebook, and texting, and we have not talked to her. We have not reached out to her. He had stopped all contact on May 8th with her per UPS, per the union, to try and fight hard for his job back.
Well, actually, it sounds like something happened before that because she went to his job about their relationship. That's fucked. Cheyenne, don't ever do that, okay? Don't do that. That's not cool. If you choose to get involved with somebody that's already in a relationship, then you reap those consequences. That means that you don't get to go and bitch about it.
I don't know why she went to the extent of turning him into his employer, especially sending intimate photos without his consent. And yeah, I'm just wanting
When was the
protection
last
for my
time you heard
children.
from her?
The last time I heard from her specifically, I would have to say, I am sorry, Your Honor, I deleted my Facebook, so let me just pull it right back up for you.
Well, you should just remember. No. How about, like, what was it this month, last month? Come on now.
There's two.
Kayla?
No, it was 17. It was 17.
No, they have to be
That's
over
King
18,
County.
Judge. That's the rule.
one
The
at
last
King
time she had reached out to me was on May 24th.
All right. And you haven't heard from her since then?
I have not, no.
Mr. Hunzinger, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth with your hand up in the air? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. Go ahead. What you're part of this. You're a petitioner also.
Your Honor, me and
Oh, oh. the judge, a man of my heart, because thank you so much for just throwing him to the wolves here, to the women, but also, bro, plead the fifth, shut the fuck up. I probably wouldn't talk if I were you. I don't know that you can make anybody happy at this point. You done fucked up, son. The judge said you were part of this. What do you have to say? I bet he had sweet nothings to say. That's what I would ask. What was the most romantic thing he ever said to you? That's what I would ask.
Cheyenne had a texting friends with benefits. We met on a 10-minute break. We met on a 30-minute lunch. Things kind of progressed a little more than I wanted.
Well, I don't. Yeah, well, hang on just a second. So I'm not sure I completely agree with that based on what's I've seen in the statements from both parties, but go ahead.
I made it clear that
I guess the point I'm making is if you didn't want it to progress, why did it progress? But that's not really what we're here for, but go ahead.
you're correct, Your Honor. It went further. I believe she wanted more and I didn't want more. I'm married. I shouldn't be doing this. I understand, Your Honor. She did make false accusations. I quit all contact May 8th, and I didn't want any contact. My union, everybody that I've talked to, my mom, don't make any more contact. Hopefully this thing she'll just go away. I got calls from my union that she was calling my work saying I texted her mother, sent images. That is not true, Your Honor. I have not had any contact, and I can put that on my grave. I put that on my son's life. I have not had any contact.
Don't be talking like that. That's completely inappropriate.
Okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I have had zero contact with her since May 8th. Not anybody she knows or anything. I just wish that we can go our separate ways and the harassment on her end can stop with all these false accusations.
All right. Hang on just a second. So, Ms. Or anything further, I guess?
I just go ahead, Kayla.
No,
No,
I don't
not
know
from
who he's
you,
talking
ma'am.
about.
I've already heard from you. I'm here. I'm talking to him. If you want something to add at the end, I'll come back to you in a minute. I'm talking to Jacob.
I would just like for all this to go away. I have, like I said, I've cut contact since May 8th was the last time I contacted her. And all I ask is that she please stop going to my work, making up these fake texts.
Rose, I don't think they work together. I think that it was on his lunch breaks and breaks that they met up, and maybe in his UPS truck. But he doesn't say our workplace, and he says my union. Like, I don't, and he's not mentioned that she worked there. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm getting the vibes that he just like met her during work hours, because it seems like during other hours Kayla's probably got him pretty tied down. So, you know, also, do we think that they're gonna stay together, or do you think Kayla invested in that headset for the divorce hearing that will inevitably be streamed? Hopefully, if we get it. And also the judge and her coming together to be like, bro, don't talk about our kid. Don't swear about your mistress over our kids' heads, please. Damn it.
Messages that I've been texting her. I have not texted her at all since May 8th or contact anybody she knows. I never went to her work. I was at home with my wife and my wife's best friend's mom. My sister just passed away. So I just want things to go. Please let us just go our separate ways, and that's all I ask.
I just have one question. It's just a yes or no question. Are you still employed at your employer?
No, not well. It's under investigation, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, could you raise your right hand? You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you asking for an order in King County?
Yes, I am.
Do they know about that?
I'm not sure if they've been served or not.
So you were asking for an order in Pierce County that was filed on May 21st. I was
Yes.
told by Ms. Hunzinger that was denied. Now you're asking for another order out of King County?
Correct.
All right. I'll hear your position on on their request for an order.
I don't think it's justified. I haven't made any fake Facebooks. I haven't made any fake accounts to text them. I wasn't even aware that my fiance had reached out to them. I just want this all to go over and get over with. His employer had made it explicitly clear that they needed those images, and they said it was okay. Of course, I'm going to trust somebody that works at head of security over my own judgment, which I probably shouldn't have done. I admit that.
Is there a court date set in King County on your second no contact order?
Yes, there it is, June 16th.
June 16th? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I know the King County stuff we can't see. I know that. All right. Well, that's not in front of me. The only thing in front of me here right now is whether or not an order should be entered in favor of the Hunsingers restricting you, Ms. Thompson. There is a court date in King County. But the order, if you refer back to the definition that I read about harassment earlier, this was not a real positive breakup, and frankly, not a real positive relationship, given the context of everything that I've heard about this. Like I say, you both want the same thing, so to stay away from each other. But, you know, one thing that, and I hear a lot on these cases, and I might even be here in other cases here this morning, you know, you need to stop this person from bad-mouthing me on Facebook or Instagram or some other social media website that I've never heard of. I can't do that. You know, people can render an opinion, or I've had even people say on a business, you know, stop this person from making bad Yelp reviews. I can't do that either. And so, you know, people have the right to express themselves on social media and so forth, and there's nothing I can do about that. I can enter orders that keep people away from each other and not talking to each other. But given the context and the emotion that's described, I don't find that this rises to the level of harassment. I will tell you, Ms. Thompson, though, any sort of reaching out to them again, I probably would consider that harassment based on everything I've heard here today. I'm not sure what's happening on your King County case. I will say that judges sometimes tend to be a bit skeptical when they go to one court, ask for something, don't get it, and then think, oh, well, maybe I'll go to a different court with a different judge. Maybe I can get it there. I don't know. I can't speak to King County Superior Court, but that would always make me scratch my head about, hey, what's exactly is going on here? So you might want to think about that. And if everybody really wanted to stay away from each other, they wouldn't drag each other into court. And so, but for today, your motion, your petition, the Hunsinger's petition for the order will be denied. But like I say, ma'am, Ms. Thompson, I might have a different result if any sort of contact comes up. And you need to think about what you send and who you're sending it to, and all of that. But that'll be my ruling here today.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Folks are all free to leave the
Do you
Zoom
think
call.
Jacob's allowed to go out anymore? Do you think Jacob's even allowed to look for a job? She got to keep him at home. The judge is still on MySpace, right? MB, hi, MB, hi, Christopher Engelby, my friend. Also, who's this guy sitting in a cuck chair watching the judge all the time? Like just over his shoulder. With a little twiddly face. I will not admit to the things that I've done at work. I resolved not to do things like that at work anymore. A couple jobs ago. It's pretty hard, I'll tell you that. But I do my best. Except for this job, but luckily I'm my own boss, so the sexual harassment flies. But yeah, Judge, what do we got? Coming up, this is our main event.
Mr. Earhart, to come on up and take us, or Mr. Shepard, sorry. Mr. Shepard, and then Ms. Farr. Ms. Farr in the Zoom call.
I love you too, Christopher.
You can take a seat. This is a case I'm also familiar with. This had been reset. If I recall right, I've heard testimony from both. I've reviewed all the video, some of which has been submitted by both sides. So Ms. Farr, I'll hear from you.
Yes, sir.
Hang on just a minute. I hit the wrong button here.
That's dangerous when that happens, Judge. Sometimes I've done that. You guys are so sweet.
Anything you wish to add to what I've heard thus far? I mean, I heard all about this with your child and the bus stop and the possible relations and so forth. And then I've heard from Mr. But anything you wish to add to that?
So we did see each other one time. He tried to hop on the bus. My boyfriend told him he couldn't ride. He did hop off respectfully. That's been our only other encounter. The other thing is I just want to make sure you've seen all of the stuff that I put in under the petitioner files, because I have, there's 3 videos particularly, from one from my phone and then the 2 from his phone. I know you've at least heard those two. I don't think I could get
Yeah,
the video for
I've
that.
heard
I
them.
did try.
I've heard them.
Does mine have video? The one from my phone, is it actually a video?
No, but I think what was on there in terms of audio was, I heard that. Go ahead, Mr. Shepard. I'll
This
hear
is not
from
the
you.
case I thought it was. Hopefully it's
Oh, Your Honor, I just want to apologize to the petitioner of how I reacted whenever they came across the street to confront me. I did feel threatened in a way just because it was her and her husband, and they were pointing a phone at me, and there was a lot of back and forth yelling at each other, and I felt that I was defending myself, but I wish I would have gone about it a different way. I should have stepped inside and just called the cops and had them deal with it, but I said what I said, and I'm just sorry for that. I apologize.
How far? So you guys live you live in a complex that's across the street from theirs. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have kids that ride the same bus as theirs?
My kids are 9 months old and 5-year-old.
Okay, so they don't ride the school bus, but you ride the
school bus,
yeah,
just public transportation.
Got it. All right.
And my 5-year-old, he usually he hasn't since this incident, but he usually plays across the street with a lot of the kids in the neighborhood, just because my complex doesn't have a lot of kids and the other one has a lot playing outside. But we've avoided that, and I haven't been over there. And, like she said, since I was served, I've stepped off the bus whenever I've seen them, and I've just avoided them. And I just want this to settle. I don't want to.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Well, so here's what's going to happen today. But again, do you know how many feet you live, for like how there's that street? Was that Yager? I saw the video of the dash cam where the police were talking to both you and her, not dash cam.
I'm not sure which building she lives in. I don't know anything about what building she lives in.
Okay, but at the complex, I mean, how wide's that street?
It's probably the street's probably 50 feet across. And then
the bus stop, is that on your side of the street or their side?
There's one on both sides that go opposite directions.
All right. So here's what's going to happen today here, Mr. Shepard. I appreciate your comments about, how this came about, but, I go back to the original and how this started. The comments made to, that are attributed to you, that were made to Ms. Farr's child, which were kind of upsetting to the child. They were just trying to find out what was going on. You responded in the manner that I won't repeat what you said, but even you agree at this point that was highly inappropriate and confrontational.
Yes,
and served no legal or lawful purpose. So I'm going to enter an order, and the order is going to say that, well, how far off the street is your place? I don't want your specific apartment, ma'am. Are you? Yeah, go ahead.
So that's Capitol Mall Drive, and I can actually show you because I'm outside my building right now if you'd like.
No, that's okay.
So
here's the thing, ma'am, just a second. Okay, can you stop? Let me hear you for a second. Let me listen to me for a second. And so I'm going to enter an order. He's not to contact you or your child. I'm going to put a distance restriction that he's not to come from you, but at the same time, I don't want to restrict his ability to use the bus stop. And so if he's not to come within 20 feet of you, your child, your and your residence, that would still allow him to, would that still allow him to use the bus stop? Go ahead.
The feet restriction probably wouldn't, but I'm okay if he sees us and he leaves, or we tell him we're there and he
we
leaves.
can just put a no contact order without a distance restriction. Then you're just not to.
So if they're on the bus, and
yeah, you can wait for the next one.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor.
And then this will expire for a year. Hopefully things will have calmed down. And then, well, you can go, all of you can go on about your business now.
And that's that. Okay, where's this other case that I wanted? There it is. See, I thought she was involved in it, but it's this girl, and her name is Timberly, folks. Hi, Mac. Timberly. Have you ever heard of a girl named Timberly? This is the main deal. Let's buckle in. I have to shut up. But we got 3 cases out of that tonight. 4, actually, because these are 2 separate ones. Timberly.
Are you telling Tara and Dylan Brissett? You can come up to one of those tables. Take your hat off, though.
Do you fucking really, Shane? That's amazing. Timberly with a T, not Kimberly with a K.
Just curious.
Or Jimberly with a J. What is that from?
Okay, so the Brissets. So we're here on the petition from Ms. Junker and Ms. Flores. You guys live next door to each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
Our property lines connect.
Okay. And so, excuse me. Did, and again, before I'm going to hear from you, Ms. Junker and Ms. Flores first, but it looks to me, and just looking through this, you in fact were in front of the court just a few days before they filed asking for an order against them. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so that order was denied, and so it was never set for hearing. So, and again, this is another one of these situations where everybody wants the same thing, which makes me confused as to why the court's involved. And I don't know whether either one of you were aware of that.
I'm aware. I was not aware that it is, it's an iced tea day. Oh my god. And I'm drinking coffee? That's crazy. But thank you so much, Christopher Engelby. Oh my god, it's hot. Holy hot a-moly.
I was told by a deputy that responded to an incident at the Tenino Timberland Library that she had gone that morning to try to retrieve a protection order and was denied due to lack of evidence.
All right, who's going to speak first?
I'll go ahead and speak first because I've been dealing with the harassment a lot longer than Crystal has, if that's okay.
That's it. Yeah, that's fine. Could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Give me just a moment. Go ahead. How is it
They're
you
in
need
the
an
same
order
location,
against,
by the way.
the,
Just before she gets going, these two are in the same location. They're trying to not look like they are, but they are. You'll hear the echoey reverb, and they are on the same side. The people that they are against, the defendants, are in the courtroom, so we won't often see them until they speak. But you can guess what she looks like.
is it Brosset or Brissette?
Proceed.
And I'm wrong on both counts. Could you say that again, please?
Proceed.
Brosi?
Yeah.
Okay. How is it you need an order against the Brosis?
Okay, so I just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm requesting the protection order against Tara and Dylan due to escalating pattern of harassment, trespassing, intimidation, and threatening behavior directed at me and my family. The behavior began on October 16th of 2024. I had messaged Tara via Facebook, respectfully asking her to stop allowing her dogs to use my yard as their bathroom. The response and events that have followed have significantly affected my family's safety, well-being, and sense of peace in our home. On October 17th, Tara's young child came to my home barefoot and alone asking for food. I gave him food and informed Tara. She had no idea that her child had left the home and she was not even home. This raised serious concerns about supervision and safety. Between December and January, her dog repeatedly entered my yard unsupervised and defecating and also behaving aggressively. I messaged her to let her know that on 3 separate accounts, her dog had attacked my dog and was causing issues, and she still did not leash her dog or do anything to stop it. On December 20th, I informed her that her chickens were regularly in my yard. Her response was, I know. And she made no effort to contain them as well. On March 1st, a group of at least 8 people surrounded my fence and attempted to jump it to come into my yard because one of her chickens were in my yard. She was yelling at my dogs and trying to enter the fence by jumping it. I allowed one person to come in and retrieve the chicken, but I felt like this was very threatening as they crowded my property. And then on March 5th, Tara created and began using an unauthorized path in my backyard to spy on me and walk to the neighbor's home.
Also, pro tip, you want your neighbors to sort of turn a blind eye when your chickens get in their yard? Go ahead, drop off a dozen eggs every week. All of a sudden, they ain't fucking mad about that, are they? I want chickens so bad. Chickens, but they attract rodents. Ew.
She and her children use this path daily, and often
Is it
stop
on
to
your
stare-
property?
Yes, this is on my property, and I believe
So
that
they're walking onto your property on a path?
yes.
All right.
And I believe that I have video evidence of them walking back and forth that I provided.
Some of that, I will
So-
say, some video that was provided in this case, for whatever reason, I was unable to view. But go ahead, continue.
Okay. But so from March 5th on, almost daily, they use this path in my backyard. They would stop and stare into my home for multiple, like, it wasn't just a stop for a minute or two. They would stand there for like 15 to 20 minutes. I've caught Tara cutting my plants and my trees along the fence line that I've been trying to use to prevent viewing them. On March 10th, she stole one of my dog's puppies after she had a litter from the backyard. She had admitted to keeping it. Whenever I finally confronted her after hours of searching for the dog, I had asked one of her oldest stepson, Elijah, if he had seen the puppy because he was playing out in the yard, out in the street. And his eyes got really big and he said, I have to go ask my mom, and ran away. Then his younger brother walked up to my car and said, my mommy has your puppy. It's in a kennel in my living room. So I sat there and I waited for Tara to come out. And when she did, I asked her if she had my dog. She said that she would return her in an hour or so when she was able to. And then on March 16th, Tara and her husband and her children built a fort in my backyard. And then, and that was also without my permission. On May 13th, I caught Tara in the act of attempting to take both of my puppies. She ran to her vent and fled the scene. And there's photo evidence of that as well. May 14th, on May 14th, Tara and her husband began posting harassment comments on me and about me and my husband on our town's Facebook page, furthering escalating tensions. On May 16th, while I was trying to build a privacy fence I'm trying to get a 6-foot fence built so that we cannot contact each other, so that there's no issue. They are relentless though. So where was I? Sorry.
You're going to talk to me about the fence.
Huh?
You started to talk about a fence.
Okay, yeah. On May 16th, while I was building the fence that was approved by my landlord, Tara stood watching me for at least 15 minutes, then returned with her husband and their firearms and walked along the property line in an intimidating manner. And her husband continued to pace around with a baseball bat, swinging it around, and they would not leave us alone the entire time or leave the vicinity of the area that we were in, which is in the back corner of their property. If they were just being outside, they could have been anywhere out there. They were literally directly on the other side of the holes that the fence was being dug at.
Christopher Angleby is carrying this episode. Thank you, Christopher. Amazing. Seriously, welcome to Patricia and thank you to Christopher. This is some crazy ass shit. You can bet your bottom dollar if somebody stole my fucking puppy, I'd be pretty pissed about it. Never had a puppy, but I can imagine I would get pretty attached pretty quick. You know, I was pretty serious with my kid, you know? So that sounds crazy. Also, how are these neighbors and stuff, like, stealing puppies from each other's house? Like, isn't that theft? Hi, madame. Oh, yeah.
On May 17th, she allowed her dog to approach me aggressively while I had worked on the fence. Only after I said I was recording did she restrain the dog and finally leave. That evening, they had their child stand on an elevated area in my yard to stare into my home for over 20 minutes. This is the child Elijah that they have used as a pawn in multiple games that they've been doing. He was definitely coached by them, as in the video you can see Dylan telling him, put your hood on, go over there, and then a thumbs up whenever he was there. Let's see here. May 22nd, a neighbor, which was Crystal, had texted me in fear because Tara had blocked her into her home and was driving or had drove up into her driveway, blocked her in her home, and was trespassing in her backyard, rummaging through her belongings.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop you. She's right here. I'm going to hear from her. I don't need to hear from you about her.
Okay, well, I was just letting you know that I was texted and that she was in fear for that.
You can continue.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Later that evening when the cops had came to speak with us about the incident, because I was the witness and recorded the break-in, he let us know that Tara and her associates went and changed clothes and were at a different address in hopes of not being found. On May 23rd, Dylan and Joshua, the person that they had involved in the crime of breaking in, were hovering around my 6-foot fence and pretending like they were going to jump over it and watching mine and Crystal's home for the evening. On May 25th, Dylan made a public Facebook post suggesting he was planning gun violence against me and Crystal. That evening, him, Tara, and Joshua held a bonfire, but spent the entire night watching our homes and peeking into our yards. Crystal called in a complaint due to the unsafe fire size because it was built next to our new wood fence. On the 27th, me and Crystal went to the Timberland Library to print documents for this court order. While we were there, or when we had walked in, Tara was already there and had immediately began calling someone, loudly announcing our presence and trying to escalate the situation. Whenever she continued, the librarian stepped in and stood between us so that we would have a witness.
Did anybody have librarian steps in the middle of the fight on their bingo card? I'm pretty sure that is a spot on the bingo card. It's a hard one to fill. Doesn't pop up that often, but here we are tonight. Lucky us. Wow. Timberly from Timberland. Oh, Mac had it. Amazing.
A police officer responded and 3 witnesses confirmed Tara's behavior. The officer told us that she had refused to leave and that he even feared that she would retaliate, so he stayed with us until we were finished, which allowed us to safely leave to proceed to the courthouse for this protection order. That evening, Tara began using her sprinkler system to intentionally spray my new wood fence in the backyard, making a portion of my yard also unusable, and I'm unable to upkeep it because she has her sprinkler going not only on my fence, but into my yard. And she has continued with that sprinkler almost every day since this evening. On May 30th, she was served with the order for this, that we were asking for a protection order, and it only made her and her husband escalate things. So on May 31st, the day after, I had went to go 5 blocks down to the convenience store to get barbecue sauce for dinner. Whenever I was pulling out, I was backing out of my driveway. Dylan and Joshua came speeding off from Martina to Main Street, which I live right on the corner. As they came speeding out, I had to pull in so that they wouldn't hit my car. They slowed down right behind me, revved their engine, and then continued to go. Once they continued to go, I backed out and left, but they were in front of me. They stopped in the middle of the road, would not allow me to continue driving forward, and sat there and watched as I finally made it into the store. Even the cashier asked if I was okay. He was afraid for my well-being because he could see two grown men staring me down in the middle of the street. On June 1st, Dylan continued to drive by and stare at us while we were outside, to the point to where we had to call non-emergency line for help. And Deputy Sheriff Jacob Crawford responded with the CAD number 251420735. And then on June 5th, I received a call from my property manager informing me that Tara has been harassing them as well about the fence. The property manager came out, confirmed that the fence was on my side of the property, and also noted that just within the 20 minutes that she was there, Dylan had drove past the home 5 times. Despite being told by the sheriff, the courthouse, Public Works, and the property owner to provide documentation for a property survey that she claims to have done, Tara has refused to show any proof. This ongoing behavior, trespassing, theft,
Intimidation. It's a tough one, Timberly. I know. And you know what? Somebody did you dirty when they named you Timberly, and you've been confused about words ever since. Christopher Angleby, I love you too. Thank you so much for being here. I'm doing some math. You're flying to Oklahoma City tonight, MB? Are you taking your broom, or are you going on a plane? I sometimes take my broom because I'm a witch too. I'm just joking. You know I love you. And that would be a good thing. I'd be so jealous. Have a great night, Christopher. We love you. I'm gonna go get another coffee while I still have some ice.
Intimidation with weapons, verbal harassment, stalking, and animal theft is making it impossible for me to live in my home peacefully. I have done my best to resolve these matters peacefully and within the law. I have documented and reported each incident in good faith, but the behavior has only escalated, and I now fear for my safety and the safety of my family. I ask that the court to issue this protection order to prevent any further contact, harassment, or trespassing by Tara Dillon and their associates. Thank you.
Ms. Yonker, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Before you start, where do you live relative to where the Brosets live?
I live, excuse me, Timberly and her husband.
Hang
Tyler.
on just a minute. Ms. Flores, you need to stay on camera.
Okay.
Thank you. You can mute up, but stay on camera.
Okay.
And Ms. Yonker, go ahead.
Timberly and her husband Tyler live in between Tara and I. So she's sandwiched in between Tara and I.
So you're on one side, she's on the other.
Yes, Your Honor.
Got it. Go ahead.
The events, I was very good friends with the Brosets before. May 13th is really when everything started happening. Tara and her husband Dylan had taken to Facebook attacking Timberly and Tyler, calling them many explicit names, just airing a bunch of dirty laundry that really doesn't need to be aired in public like that. Tara messaged me, sending me screenshots of things that she felt she needed to say in said posts. And
we just got Taco Bell stuff here, and I bought a bottle of this last week, and I've already gone through the whole bottle. I love it. I love it so much. My shirt's not low enough. Let's hear their dirty laundry, by the way, while I pour my other coffee from a can. Mr. Brown.
I advised her not to. May 13th was town hall meeting, and that was the day the Facebook thing started. May 14th, screenshots were shared of me expressing my disagreement with her actions between the neighbor dispute. my discontent about the dogs continuing to come into my yard after asking her multiple times to fix the perimeter collars that she bought for the dogs so that they couldn't not only enter my yard, but go through Timberly and Tyler's yard to access my yard. She allowed the dog perimeters to go beyond Timberly and Tyler's yard to be able to access my yard. And I had asked her multiple times to change that, and it fell on deaf ears, along with multiple other issues that I had previously brought to her. On May 15th, she and her stepson Elijah brought me leftover dinner at 10 p.m. at Town Hall, where I
Creepy. Keep in mind when I say Taco Bell, I mean meat that I buy and cook myself that's just seasoned with their seasoning, because I live in Canada on Vancouver Island and we don't have a Taco Bell. So this is as close as I can get. So it's basically just my regular tacos. Tacos! So don't knock Taco Bell, because that's me tonight. Anyways. Oh, plus I'm making fresh guacamole. That's right, baby. Fresh. I show my love in food.
was sitting with the town clerk and treasurer at the end of the night, helping her with some leftover business. The town clerk even remarked about it being odd that she came to town hall at such a time with her stepson just to bring food and ask questions, because she's never done that. May 16th, I had a really bad migraine day. I suffer from chronic migraines due to an injury I sustained while I was active duty. Tara knows about this. I have a lot of evidence showing her expressed previous concern for my well-being due to these conditions. However, this day, May 16th, I had a really bad migraine day, and she kept trying to provoke a reaction out of me through text, showing up at my house, asking me about these screenshots. And that's when I started feeling unsafe being alone around her. So from then on, I made sure to either stay home, I wouldn't leave my house, or I would make sure that I had somebody around me that could witness any uncouth behavior that she displays. On May 21st, I've also provided several witness statements to show that she's established a history of stalking and intimidating behavior. May 21st, Tara comes to my house unannounced while I have company. A friend of mine is moving out of state and was bringing me some things. She blocked my friend in my driveway, inserting herself into our conversation and interrupting what we were previously talking about. This was at 12:46 p.m. My friend, myself, and Tara left shortly after because I received a phone call about an emergency situation that I had to go help with. In the witness statement, my friend explains that I had asked Tara if she wanted her drill back. At the time, the drill was in my shed with a lock on it. I didn't have my keys on me. They were inside, and I offered to go inside and grab my keys to unlock the shed and give her drill back. She told me no, that we would figure it out later, and left. At 6:40 that same day on the 21st, Tara showed up to the Bucota Improvement Club meeting late and inserted herself into conversation, making people clearly uncomfortable. I think that I have a witness statement that expressed that as well. At 7:32, I was talking to John, who was the witness to that, outside of town hall. Tara drove up from one of the back roads that goes behind town hall, stops in the middle of the road, ushers another vehicle that was driving behind her to go around her. And she interrupted my conversation I was having with John, demanding that I go talk to her. this is when in front of John, I expressed that I did not feel comfortable with the way that she handled certain situations with certain people. I did not feel safe going and talking to her alone, and that things needed to just settle and just be left the way that they were. Maybe at a future time, we could talk about things and try to smooth things out, but there was no this is not what she wanted to hear. She wanted things to go the way that she wanted things to go. Otherwise, it wasn't right to her. May 22nd at 6:47 p.m., Tara came to my house once again unannounced. I was getting ready to leave for a meeting at town hall, and she blocked my car in the driveway, calling me relentlessly, walking around my property, touching my belongings. Looking through my windows, she saw that I was recording her. I provided evidence to the court of pictures of her standing in my windows, looking at me, going like this, going like this, expressing her discontent with me not wanting to follow her directions to come outside when she wanted. She sat in my driveway after being asked to leave. I also provided text message proof of her being asked to leave multiple times. She sat in my driveway for almost an hour. In that time, she contacted law enforcement. I'm not sure that I provided the police report, the 3-page police report stating that she called dispatch, telling them that she was going to break into my shed and steal things from my property. She was advised by dispatch not to. Within that time, I had called 911 as well. They were busy with other calls, so they were not able to make it to my residence within obviously within an hour. I called town hall. I talked to the clerk and I expressed my unease for the situation and that I was feeling unsafe. They know about the history of the harassment, the stalking, the intimidating character that Tara displays, and the town clerk sent the public works worker to my house to bring me back to town hall to wait for officers safely. Within that time of leaving my house with the public works worker, Tara stayed for another almost 15 minutes in my driveway and left for 6 minutes, drove down the road to retrieve 3 other individuals, one female who also recorded the entire incident on their behalf, a male, Joshua Johnson, who was also arrested that day, carrying bolt cutters, and stated to the cops, who also put it in the police report, that he was lied to about the reason that he was there, and he was asked to be there as an intimidating presence. I live alone. I'm a disabled veteran and I live alone, and they know this. And I am in fear for my safety every day since this has happened. I don't feel safe leaving my house. I don't feel safe going into my yard because they constantly drive by, not only them, but they have the neighbors on the other side of them also doing these things, driving by my house with windows down, hooting and hollering, flipping me off, laughing.
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna hear from the Brosets now.
Excuse me,
And I'll
sorry.
start with you, ma'am. Tara, you raise your right hand, please. You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
I'll hear from you to respond to what we all just heard.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was you gonna say, Ms. Junker?
I also have more. There was more things even after being served.
Okay, well, I thought you were finished. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're okay, Your Honor. I had to pause a second so I didn't become emotional.
What happened after they were served?
So the 22nd, that was when she criminally trespassed, was arrested for criminally trespassing and theft in the third degree. On the 25th is when they had the bonfire that I had to call because the flames were reaching at least 3 foot above the 6 foot fence that my neighbors were trying to build. On the 27th, the Timberland Library incident happened, where the deputy was called out, Tara went outside. The cop was talking to her, and we witnessed through the window that they both were elevating voice levels. Tara was not happy about being told that she was escalating the situation, and that the cop came back and told us that that morning was when she tried to go get a protection order and was denied by the court. On the 29th, Tara drove down the road with Elijah, her 13-year-old stepson, who she also included in the criminal trespass onto my property. You can see in the videos that he was the one she handed the drill to after Joshua cut the lock off of my shed. She drove down the road with Elijah and the 16-year-old girl that they have living at their house, with the hatch open on their van, driving down Main Street while they were hanging out of the van. On the 30th at 10:02 a.m., they were served papers, and it was relatively quiet that day. On the 31st, however, all of the kids loaded up into a wagon, and they've never walked down the sidewalk before, and especially without going down to the other side of town. All of the kids loaded up, walking on our side of the street, the sidewalk on our side of the street, pointing at the houses as they walked past, talking and laughing. Elijah was also in tow, the 13-year-old stepson. And that was the same day that Dylan and his associate Joshua harassed Timberly on the road going down to the market on the corner. At 6:11 p.m., I have video of Dylan and Joshua driving by my house and doing a turnabout in front of my driveway to go back down to the other side of town. I had to call a friend to come sit with me and help me do lawn care because I was trying to work in my garden and trying to mow my yard, and I didn't feel safe doing it because of the excessive number of times that they were driving by and doing turnabouts in front of my driveway and what they had just done to Timberly driving down the road. All events stopped after that happened. It's like anytime I have a witness to anything, they don't proceed with anything. When I'm alone or there is no witness, that's when they feel that they can get away with this kind of behavior. On 6/7, I was told that was when
She just goes on and on and on. The coffee, the can of coffee, it is miniature, sort of. It's what, 240 milliliters? Oh, hi Devin. But it comes with cream and sugar already in it, or milk and sugar already in it, as you can tell by how it came out of the can. And it's $1.36 Canadian, which is like probably $1 US, I would imagine. And I get it at Walmart in the international aisle. They have 3 different kinds, but I always get the blue can, the Blue Mountain Blend. I like it. It's delicious. It's from Japan. I've remarked before how silly I feel paying for, but like how also cool it is. Like I cracked this open, and the last time it was open was in fucking Japan, and now it's in my living room. Now it's in my mouth. Oh, what a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen.
Dakota Improvement Club had our garden day event. The previous Improvement Club meeting that Tara had went to that she was late for, she was over volunteering for position things during this garden day that even the other members of the club commented that she was overextending herself and trying to do too much. especially after never having volunteered for an event or doing anything with the Dakota Improvement Club at all previous to this. Whereas I've been volunteering, helping with different things around town. I have a job with town hall. I just, I don't know where this ends. I don't understand how this could all evolve from me telling her that I, due to my health conditions, cannot handle discontent, discord in my life, drama. I don't want to have to
Okay.
choose between two neighbors. And
Let me hear from, and I understand that, ma'am, and I'll come back to you, but I do want to hear what the Brosses have to say. I mean, we've all heard a lot.
yes,
And
sir.
so I want to get their perspective on what's been said. And so Ms. Brosset, I've already sworn you in. Go ahead.
Before you do, Mac, you should check out, because I've started to see Starbucks bottled coffees at dollar stores in Canada. So you should check and see. Also, I've talked about it before. There's an app in Canada, obviously not a sponsor yet. If they want to sponsor me, you can. But it's called Flip, F-L-I-P-P. And you can put in alerts for different products. I guess we looked it up. It is only in Canada, but it's I know she's exactly what I picture she looked like to Legal Fiction. When I was watching this yesterday, I have to apologize for this in advance, because first of all, I'm a little chubby. I know that, but when I was watching this, I was like, oh, she is a fat bitch. And I said it out loud, and I felt really bad. But that's exactly what I thought. Because I'm listening to them talk about her stealing puppies and shit. What the fuck? Anyways, point being that go to the dollar store for the Starbucks coffee flavored things. Because they have them there, I think. Yeah. Okay. I forget what else I was saying. Probably something bad.
I first would am wanting to ask, did you receive the electronic files that I've submitted?
I think some of these that
I've
they will
been-
receive, some of them I haven't been able to see.
Okay, I've been trying for a while.
Yeah, and I think that
So,
okay, I have the one, if anything that came in today, I have not seen.
I haven't even put it.
Yeah, but go ahead, ma'am. You've heard a lot. I'm going to assume you were there for a lot of it. So I guess, what's your perspective on all of this?
sorry, it's a lot to
It is.
put together.
I can ask you, I can see things that concern me, and then I can ask you questions about them. And I guess, first of all, how old is Elijah?
12.
Okay. I can come back to that. And then what's the issue on the puppies? What's that all about?
The first incident of the puppies, the white one had gotten into my yard and they weren't home. I didn't know what to do with the dog. We live right next to the train tracks. I didn't want it to get hurt. I put it in the kennel in my house for my puppy and told Crystal and my next door neighbors that I had the dog, and if they were looking for it or asking around by the time they got home, that they could tell her that I had it. I went to a Bucota Improvement Club event and I was helping out there, and my kids were being a part of it. And Timberly drove down, asked my oldest, we've instructed them for a very long time not to talk to Timberly or be involved in any way. And for a long time now, they are afraid of her. They don't want to be around her when she's they don't want to be outside when she's outside, because she's relentlessly harassed them, screamed at them, cussed at them. So he ran off, and then
Carla, these three people live in a row. What a miserable place to live. Could you imagine? I never talk to my neighbors. I don't know their names. I don't. I see them. I have names for them in my head. I'm like, oh, there's back deck guy. There's bad driver car lady. That's what I call them in my head. I don't desire to know more. That's perfect for me. I think the problem here is that they started to become friends. Don't do that. Keep your friends on the internet where they belong, people.
My 7-year-old, I don't know exactly what he said, but apparently said that, it was in our house. I saw her talking to my kids, so I walked outside. She asked if I had it. I said, yes, I do. I have like 15 minutes left until this event ends. I'll come home and give it to you. I did that. The second time, the 2 dogs had gotten off her property, and I parked in the road and was walking her dogs back to her house because they weren't super far away, but they were going in the opposite direction. As soon as I got to like where her property would start, she came outside and she said, how did you guys get out of the gate? And they ran towards her, and I got in my car and I left.
What about this path that I've heard about that you've been walking back and forth on, and then a fort that's alleged to have been built there? Tell me about that.
The fort is on BNSF Railway property. So there's about 12 feet from where the rock meets, it's about 50 feet from the middle of the railroad out to our properties along it. So it's not on her property. And
given all the conflict, why would you do something that close to it?
What?
Well, build the fort if it is near her property, yes.
We live right next, we share a property line.
I know, but this where this is now, I expect I'm going to get something different from her. Given everything that's gone on, you just told me you told your kids to stay away from there. Why would you let them build a fort that's right next to her property?
It was there before she moved in.
When did you move in?
February of 24.
Okay. And then was she there when you got there, or did she predate you?
She moved in August, I think.
Of 2024?
Yes.
Continue on, ma'am.
So yeah, I mean, it's a big fort. We've used like cribs to pieces to like screw it all together. It has a cover, it has couches that were found behind the property, put in there. It's always been there. The trail from behind her fence goes from my property to Crystal's property, and both my family and her have always used it. Kimberly at one point said we couldn't use it, so we stopped and we started using different paths to get there. And then Crystal had relayed that she didn't care that we used it anymore, so we continued using it. We never have stopped to stare or whatever that is.
Has anybody ever directed Elijah to do anything? I've heard from stand on I think as I was said, to stand on a hill to look and put herself in position.
We've never
Has he done that on his own?
I don't know if he did it, honestly. I've never witnessed him
With regard to Ms. Yunker, tell me about the blocking the car, and she explained that you were onto her property and looking in her windows and all of that. What's that all about?
Yeah, I had wrote a letter explaining that incident.
Okay, why don't you explain it to me again now?
That day that I came, didn't know we weren't friends. We were in the middle of it, like we've never had problems before, and we were in the middle of a tiff. So I didn't know. And when I had come over, I was, walking around looking at the chickens, and I had knocked and waited a minute because sometimes, I mean, we're with each other almost every day for the past 7 months. So I waited, and then as I was walking back to the door to knock again, I saw in her window she was video recording me, and I was confused and I wasn't quite like to the point of understanding fully that we weren't friends anymore. And once I did, I got in my car and I called 911 and I asked them to help me get my stuff. I was waiting for an officer to give me a call, and
Oh my God, did you see my face? I was like, oh, I feel bad for her. Like, you don't understand when you're not friends with somebody sometimes. Like, I get that. Like, that's happened to me. I'm bad. I go all in. I'm too much for a lot of people. and then you figured it out. And then she goes, and then I called 911. No, ma'am. No. No, you go home. You pick up 3 of your favorite snacks and you decide what you're going to watch in a binge fashion. That's what you do. If you're in a real bad way, you take yourself a sedative and you sleep the day off. Okay? I don't know what else to tell you. That's the way you have to do it.
in that time there was a message thread before between Crystal and I. And so I finally got a call saying that they weren't going to come out and help me. And so I had called a friend and was talking to them about what I should do and how I need to handle the situation. So I was reading online. She was refusing me to give me my stuff back. So I had
How did you, wait a minute, how'd you get that? How do you come to rise to that conclusion that she wasn't going to give it? Sounds to me like she was willing to do
I
it.
had asked her multiple times, at least 5 in that week, that she was sick and having migraines and all of that. But I never pressed the issue. It was me coming, can I have it? No, not right now. Oh, I have an emergency to get to. All of these different things. And then once I realized we weren't friends anymore and she was still refusing to give it to me, she started like telling me that she wasn't going to give me my stuff back unless I gave her her stuff back, which she'd never asked before, and I had no idea. This was all like very new. There was other things too, I can't remember. So I had left, and Timberly, her boyfriend and roommate, were sitting out there recording me and intimidating me. So I called my other friends and asked them if they would come help me get my belongings, and in particular Joshua, because
Was he the one who was called to intimidate?
he was called to be there to defend me, not to intimidate anybody. He never made any, I have the whole thing on video. He never made any, he'd never shown any aggression or intimidation in the whole process.
Well, to you. But go ahead, you could continue. And then
Crystal had
I
already
want to
left
hear, I
at
have some
that
questions
point.
for Dylan Brisset also.
Crystal had already left at that point, and then it was just my neighbors, who I've had a long history of them harassing me and my family. And so I took my stuff and I left, and I went straight to Joshua's house. I never changed clothes or anything. I had been in contact with 911 the whole time, updating them of the situation. There was complete transparency in all of it. And I left, and a while after that, I had finally had an officer come speak to me and told me that it was illegal for me.
Okay, so hang on just a second. If you're going to you're going to talk about what you're charged with, you shouldn't do that.
No, I'm not.
Everything's recorded here, and that could be used against you. And I know you're charged with, and I can see it here, but you're also charged with criminal trespass and theft. I don't want you to talk about that or any advice you received from law enforcement or anyone else for that matter. But go ahead. Or if you're done, I'll hear from.
Yeah, so I had left.
All right. So Dylan Brisset, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sure.
You can put your hand down.
I don't know why I'm in a lot of these people's paperwork, or why I'm getting
Well,
a lot of grief on all of this.
I can tell you why I think you're here. And that is because I heard from someone that you were walking around, pacing around, swinging a baseball bat, at some point had firearms on you,
Yeah.
walking around. Let me finish, please. Also, there's I think there was a stop in the middle of the road and blocked people. All that might have been alleged about Ms. Brosset. And so, and I think just a general pattern of intimidation, running your car back and forth in front of someone's house an excessive number of times. That's, I think, is why they're upset with you.
Okay. We can start with the driving past their house. I don't know if you know Bucota at all. There's one way in.
Not much.
There's one way in, and we live on one side of the town.
Right.
Our friends live at the other. For us to go anywhere, we have to drive past their houses.
Well, I understand that, but I
Yeah.
mean, having to drive by your house and then driving by 5 and 6 times in a short period of time are two different things. But go ahead.
It's never like that. Maybe the most times I've ever drove past were just grabbing tools to work on things and stuff like that. But I've never.
Would you say that dog don't hunt, Bill? That dog don't hunt. But really what he is describing seems pretty normal in Texas, swinging a baseball bat around, toting a gun, a pew-pew out on your side. That's the American way. Bless his heart. I mean, but seriously, they just need bigger properties, people. You need bigger properties. You want to be doing random shit. And don't be talking to your neighbors.
Followed her. I've never even looked at her. I don't even know Timberly. I've never talked to her or her boyfriend in person one time. I know Crystal because they used to be friends and I used to go over there and help them and stuff like that. But for Timberly, I've never talked to her other than responding to her Facebook post on the Bucota page saying that we were trying to steal their dogs, and I was just trying to defend my family, saying that we have never tried to steal their dogs and stuff like that, that they're trying to put us in a bad light. I do carry a firearm in a holster on my side, not to intimidate or anything like that. I just carry my CPO. It's not an intimidation thing. It's not. They're saying we're walking their property line. We have a garden that's right next to the fence, like literally 2 feet from where they're trying to build the fence. That's in the wrong spot. That we had to pay to have a surveyor come out and tell us where the real property lines are.
So you were on their property for a period of time? Or
No, I think the only time where they're saying that we were on their property was walking back and forth from our
Right.
house to Crystal's house behind the fence that they had built and stuff like that. And Crystal walked the path, we walked the path. I was never told, but again, I've never talked to Timberly in person ever, or her boyfriend. She's never told me that she didn't want me to walk on the back behind her fence. It was just a little shortcut in between our house and Crystal's house, and everybody used it. So the baseball bat thing is weird because I have a permanent pole right next 15 feet away from that property line where the hit away things, a ball on a string, you throw it around, it goes boom, it comes back, you hit it. You use it for practicing baseball. I have 2 sons that are in baseball. My older son and me were practicing that day, and I don't know why they're saying I was threatening or intimidating them or swinging a bat around randomly, because that's not the case. There should be pictures. In the electronic thing, it's literally a concreted in pole, not connected to anything. It serves one purpose, and it's for practicing.
Okay. Anything further?
I don't know.
Okay. So Ms. Flores, I'll come back to you. Do you have a response? And again, you don't need to repeat everything you've already told me. Just respond to what you've heard from the 2 Brosets here.
Okay, so in the evidence that I have submitted, yes, they do have the garden and they do have that cement pole, but you can see him swinging the baseball bat around at the fence line, which is past their garden. And I also have video evidence that I submitted of them building the fort while I was living here they are once again lying to try and get out of it. A lot of this, a lot of the evidence that I have submitted will show you that they're trying to water down and downplay everything that they have done.
Okay, Ms. Junker, I'll hear from you. Anything you wish to say in response?
Yes, Your Honor. You know, I had so many things to come back with the things that Tara said. There were multiple lies that she had said in her statement. I definitely have tried to coordinate getting the drill back to her previously. Yes, as I previously stated, I suffer from chronic migraines. She's well aware of that. As she stated, we were really good friends for at least 7 months before all of this stuff happened. I also can provide evidence showing that she knew that she was not welcome to use the path in between the two houses, and Timberly allowed me to use it because I was a mutual party and would not choose sides between the few that I did not agree with that Tara was trying to exacerbate by putting multiple structures right next to the property line, right next to the fence. Also, that fort that is on BNSF railroad property. BNSF has been notified about it. They are not happy about it because it's legal to build on BNSF property. Also, the fort is on the opposite side of Timberly's property, farthest from the Brose's house and closest to my house. So they built that fort there to intentionally allow their children to continue with the intimidation factor. I personally, in the entire 7 months that I was friends with the Brose, I have never seen an interaction between, except for through text messages and Facebook things, between Timberly, Tyler, and the Broses. The only thing I've ever seen are about the dog situations and Timberly asking Tara, as I asked Tara to stop trespassing on my property and to please leave me alone.
Okay.
I'm very concerned for the children too. I have witnessed in the times that I have been friends with her, the children running across South Main Street, where she herself has gone to town hall meetings, expressing concern for the speed that people drive down this road. There are many witnesses in town of her allowing her children supervised to walk across that street. Her youngest is, I believe, 3 or 4, I want to say. And he is also allowed to walk across that street unsupervised and barefoot. They're allowed to walk barefoot along the railroad tracks. I also have evidence showing that there is a problem with people who use drugs in town, and especially along the tracks. There was evidence of finding needles and spoons on the tracks that she had previously cleaned up.
Okay, so ma'am, again, I'm going to stop you there. Again, there's the only thing I can be here for here today is whether or not orders, no contact orders are entered or not. You know, the concerns you raise, that's just, there's no way to say this other than to say it. There's nothing I can do about that. That would be handled in a different court in a different place. And the only thing I can do here today is enter no contact orders or not. So go ahead. Do you have anything further?
I don't believe I do. I would just really like to have peace of mind knowing that I have a little bit more protection in my house since I live alone, and they've proven that they will bring outside entities to my house to complete their agenda.
Okay. So again, I'm ready to rule, and we'll rule as follows. First of all, there's 2 separate petitions bought by 2 different households. Apparently, the Broses live in between Ms. Yonker and Ms. Flores. And then before I say what I'm going to do, I just want to say a couple of things to both Ms. Flores and Ms. Yunker. I can't enter an order that gives you good neighbors. There's just nothing I can do about that. You made complaints about their dogs coming onto your property. Honestly, there's nothing I can do about that. If there are statutes and rules in place for dogs, and whether they're at large or things like that, and that happens in another place. That doesn't here. Same is true with the children, Ms. Yanker. I've never met their children. I don't know anything about them other than what's been told to me here today. But that's just not in front of me. And even if those sorts of concerns can't be addressed in a court like this. But having heard the evidence and listened to everything, I do find that it's appropriate to enter orders in these cases, and you folks just aren't to contact them. That's just basically it. There's not going to be a distance restriction. There really can't be. In terms of when you live right next to each other, they're entitled to the use of all of their house. If there's common use of property that's owned by others, like the railroad, the railroad's not here. I don't know if they have a problem with people doing things or building forts on there, which I understand what they do, because I may be speaking a little bit longer than I should, but when people or kids go on to other people's property and build things, that creates a liability issue for the property owner. So I'll bet they're not too enthusiastic about having people or kids go on there and build forts and things of that sort. I don't know that. I'm just guessing that. But when I look at all the things in conjunction with each other with regard to Ms. Yunker, with regard to the incident on the house, coming onto the property, looking into the window, and I mean, just common sense tells me that you would have a better way to respond to that rather than just wander around based on everything I've heard. And I do find that crosses the line into harassing behavior, which is appropriate for an order to be entered. With regard to Ms. Flores, it's just a combination of all of these things, including, frankly, yes, Mr. Brose, you have a right to own a firearm or carry a firearm. Apparently, you just told me you had a CPL. I have no reason to doubt that. But I think in an objective sense, given the tenuous nature that's got the relationship between you folks, I think a lot of people would find that intimidating when you're walking on the property, on your own property, with an exposed firearm. And that's, yes, you have a right to do that, but when it's done for the purpose and when people are sometimes legitimately scared about that, which clearly put her at ease, I find that rises to the level where an order is appropriate. And so I'm going to enter an order, which doesn't affect anything else other than to say you folks are just not to contact either one of them. Do you understand that? Don't communicate with them. And if there's a meeting, I think I've heard of, there's been some issues arising at is it the Bakota Improvement Association? Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor, the
And,
Improvement Club. And I also volunteer with Town Hall, that she has been showing up recently more than she ever has.
you have a question, ma'am.
I wanted to respectfully say that a lot of this stuff I had put into my response to all of this. And I feel like I didn't really get a good chance to respond other than your questions.
Well, I've reviewed, I asked you for your perspective. I did review what was submitted, the stuff that came in today. If stuff came in today, I didn't see that. That's true. But, and so, I mean, I thought I gave you basically the microphone, so to speak. Tell me how you respond.
It just, a lot of the allegations that were made against us, as far as their fence on my property, I submitted last week all the paperwork stating that it is on our property. I've submitted about the library incident, and then I put videos in of the library. I requested at 3 different angles. I'll show them being aggressors in that situation. I also have the CAD notes from the officer explaining that, also saying that he didn't feel like I was going to retaliate. I have another CAD note from another officer stating that they had been harassing me the weekend after the order was put into place.
Well, ma'am, two things can be true in that regard. And, I'm not asked to decide whether or not they're harassing you. I'm asked to decide whether or not the pattern of behavior you guys have engaged in is harassing them. And I am that finding. And maybe, and again, I know you've already asked for that once, and that was a different judge. I didn't hear that case. But that's where I'm at with this, given the testimony.
In regards to the weapons, one of our dogs last December got attacked by a cougar, and I had a sheriff come out who, helped me with the whole thing. And that's when my husband had decided to get his CPL.
And I carry daily.
He carries daily and on our property because, we've encountered bears and cougars and coyotes and other dangerous animals in our area. Driving past their properties, we also do that, but we don't look at them. When they were talking about the 6 times that he had driven past, they were having their the Flores were having their person that lives with them come out with his shirt off, flexing at my husband. Yonkers has yelled and screamed at him to come get some of this, and in attempts to have him come, I'm assuming, fight with her. There's just a lot here that is false, and we've been the one who have been being harassed for so long, and I have ample evidence to prove that. And I could respond to everything, every situation, but obviously things that aren't true I couldn't respond to, but there's just so much here that I should have wrote it down or something.
All right. Well, ma'am, like I say, that's my decision, and hopefully this makes it a bright line for you. But again, shouldn't change how you live. They're just not a part of your life. That's all, which is what I kind of think you want.
I don't have a problem with that, but I've also included messages from the Improvement Club members besides Yonkers and the person that she had brought that one time. I'd never seen him before. Every message that I asked them, hey, I didn't mean to make this uncomfortable. I just had gotten home from my son's baseball game, so that's why I was late. Every single one, including the president, told me that that was not the case, and they don't know how I came to that conclusion. I also didn't say that she was the one who was making those accusations, but they have all acknowledged that that was not the case.
You wanted to say something? I'll give you the final word here, and then.
Oh shoot. Yeah. My wife is going to school to become a phlebotomist, and I know working in hospitals and stuff like that, they ask you if you have protection orders against you.
Right.
So I feel like this is going to affect her career, like this is a real physical thing other than just not talking to them, which is no problem.
Right.
It's a detriment to my
over
career.
A bunch of lies. They literally called CPS on us. They call the cops on us every single time they can. They're always reporting us. So if there was actually anything that really happened, except for them lying, like the days that they said we were watching them on the property line or anything like that, she had a video camera on us the whole time. We were never threatening them. We were never doing anything like that. So it's insane that they're abusing the system like this, and it's going to actually affect her life. Like, I'm a trucker. It doesn't affect me. They're not going to ask me.
I know you haven't seen the
will.
electronic stuff that I have submitted, but there is ample evidence in that. And that's why I've tried like 6 different times to get that to the courts. And that's why I submitted them, because they are contradicting what their statements are saying.
That's what I made my decision, and that's going to stand for now. This is not a domestic violence, and so I know domestic violence is an issue with maybe health competitors. I'm not sure that this is, but this is just a civil anti-harassment order, and that's it here for today.
Just anti-harassment.
That's
or
it.
Is it petitioning against guns or?
Nope. Doesn't affect that a bit.
So
No,
how
but
do
you need to
I-
think about how you conduct yourself out there. I would suggest
Am I
that.
not allowed to carry?
I just said, I'm not,
It just
again, I'm not
seems
gonna answer that
weird.
question. I know.
I'm not gonna start
I know.
carrying. I carry
Okay,
my
all
car,
right.
I carry on my.
I've said what I'm gonna say. You can take that however you want. And if you want copies of this order, you can wait here or you can get them off the website.
Your Honor, can I dispute this?
What's that?
Can I dispute your judgment?
Final.
What's that? You can appeal if you wish, but that's, you need to, but again, I can't tell you how many, how to go about that. That's something you're gonna have to do. But yes, you can certainly appeal it if you wish.
Okay.
You're free to go. You folks are free to leave the Zoom call.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. There. Try and make it echo, 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 echo. I can't do that. I don't have a fancy board, and I don't have guys in a truck. Oh, fuck. But I can rhyme, and I do it all the time. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Wasn't that amazing? We did 3 cases. And we'll be back tomorrow to do it again. It'll be early afternoon again tomorrow. Keep an eye out for it. I think probably after members only for Case Channel. So, like 3:15, 3:30, 3:30-ish. You guys, I love you so much. Seriously, what a fucking docket. I feel bad for the judge, right? But I don't feel bad for hanging out with you guys. What a nice evening we had. Thank you so much for the gifts, you guys. Thank you for being here. The gift of your time. That's worth more than a dime. Do me a favor, remember that I love you and I'm proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye. Yeah, 3:30 Pacific.
Always down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time.
Don't forget to go check out John's stream later. Oh, also, I tried to redirect over to Bacon 2 or whatever it is, but it wouldn't let me. So anyways, go show love to other YouTubers. I love you guys. Bye.